The festival of colours has finally arrived. Visuals of Holika Dahan and Holi celebrations have arrived.
Good evening. Happy Holi to you, our viewers. My name is Toya Singh. Tonight on the show, 4 days after the Delhi Chief Minister's arrest, which was the first time in the country's history that a sitting Chief Minister has been arrested without conviction, 4 days after that, as the Chief Minister continues to languish in the Enforcement Directorate's custody, the Aam Aadmi Party has announced a new campaign to rally together its supporters. What is the campaign called? It's called Modi ka sabse bada dar Kejriwal, or Modi's biggest fear is Arvind Kejriwal. This is as the opposition INDIA has announced a march to save democracy on the 31st of this month. On one side, you have the opposition that points out the nearness of the elections and the Enforcement Directorate's very high rate of action against opposition leaders to establish that the end days of democracy in our nation are nigh. Has the BJP bit off more than it can chew this time around with this particular arrest? Or will they hit home with voters by framing this simply as a very corrupt leader meeting his very deserved fate because of the capable handling of the Enforcement Directorate? That's what we're going to take a deeper look at tonight.
दिल्ली की जनता समझ चुकी है कि चाहे कितना भी दिखाएं मेमोरी लॉस, दिल्ली समझ गई है कौन इस शराब घोटाले का बॉस।
इसलिए गिरफ्तार किया क्योंकि आज प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी को पता है कि अगर इस देश में कोई एक नेता है जो उन्हें चैलेंज कर सकता है तो वो नेता अरविंद केजरीवाल है।
उनको लगता होगा कि अरविंद केजरीवाल जैसे नेता आप अरेस्ट करेंगे, जेल में डालेंगे तो आपको सुकून मिलेगा। ऐसा नहीं है। अब अरविंद केजरीवाल ज्यादा खतरनाक बन गए।
Why should they arrest Arvind Kejriwal now? Because they want to be scared. Because Aam Aadmi is getting popular in Delhi, Punjab, Gujarat and Haryana. So they are scared. So that's the reason they are arresting them.
Okay, let's introduce you to the guests we have joining us tonight. First on the show, we have Tuhin Sinha. He's a BJP spokesperson. We also have Ashutosh Srivastava, a lawyer. Both of them are with us. We'll open the discussion with both of them. After that, we'll go over to more of our panelists. I'm going to go over first to the BJP's Tuhin Sinha. Let's go over to him to understand more. Mr. Sinha, the opposition's contention over the last few days has been primarily this, and this is why we're starting the show by highlighting what the Aam Aadmi Party's new campaign is, one that they've unfolded today, where they're saying the Prime Minister's biggest fear is Arvind Kejriwal. That's what they're saying. And sir, I just want to ask you that what the opposition is saying is they're saying that Kejriwal, in being someone who stands up against corruption, number one. Number two, someone who can't be put in the same Nehruvian tint you can put someone like Rahul Gandhi in. That's point number two. And number three, with his Delhi model, he is someone who is truly a needle in the side of the Prime Minister, of the BJP. That's why you see the BJP targeting him, and that's why all of this is happening. Mr. Sinha, I've just opened with the argument because I want to give you first the platform to hear what the BJP's response to that is. Then we'll take further questions.
Well, good evening, Toya. A very happy Holi to you, to your viewers. You know, Aam Aadmi Party is essentially delusional. That is a problem which they all face. Because when they say that the Prime Minister is scared of Arvind Kejriwal, it needs to be backed by data and numbers. Wherever they have tried to expand, be it Goa, be it Gujarat, they have excelled in losing their deposits. And maybe, you know, they just, they are called the Zamanat Jabt Party for obvious reasons, because in most of the seats that they have fought outside Delhi, they have lost their deposits. When it comes to Lok Sabha, how many members do they have at the moment? One, I believe. in Delhi, in the last Lok Sabha elections, BJP had a 57% vote share, and there is every likelihood of BJP repeating or probably increasing that vote share. So I think, Aam Aadmi Party has a right to be delusional. Rather, I call them a party of educated illiterates. That's the political answer to your question. Now, when it comes to the legal part, I think, Arvind Kejriwal had enough time for him to behave responsibly in front of ED. There were 9 summons which were issued to him, and whatever action the ED has initiated is based on solid evidence. The ex-OSD of Arvind Kejriwal, Arun Nair, the ex-OSD of Manish Sisodia have both corroborated the personal complicity of Arvind Kejriwal in the entire, new liquor policy that was devised and that was put in place that was hastily put in place by the Arvind Kejriwal government. So I think, it's about, and it doesn't end over there. He continues to preside over illegality even from the jail. Under law, he's not permitted to issue orders from the jail. And did he take permission from the court? Did he, under whose permission is he issuing these office orders? That itself is an act of illegality. His protege, Raghav Chadha, seems to have gone to London for an eye surgery, but there he's hobnobbing with those who have a very cockeyed vision towards India and pro-Khalistani elements.
Sinha,
so I think, Aam Aadmi Party has
can
a
I
lot
just
to
ask
answer
you to stay with us? You've raised some questions. I now want to take them over to the Aam Aadmi spokesperson. Let me just introduce our audiences to the different spokespeople we have joining us right now. Mahima Singh from the Congress has joined us. Good evening, ma'am. Thank you for joining us. And Anmol Panwar has joined us from the Aam Aadmi Party. Good morning. Happy Holi. Good evening. Happy Holi to all of you. Let's just go over very quickly to Mr. Panwar. Mr. Panwar, before I take to you the questions that Mr. Sinha has raised, I just want to ask you, sir, tell me, within the Aam Aadmi Party, over the last few days, we saw protests take place. But was there at all, take us behind the scenes, sir, was there a sense of disappointment that Delhi didn't come to a standstill with the arrest of the Chief Minister?
Toya, everyone in Delhi loves the most popular CM of this country, Mr. Kejriwal. And we have witnessed the kind of support and blessings he has in the past 10 years. It does not, we are not required to bring Delhi to a standstill. We have presented a model of progress and development in Delhi, and we want that to continue further. And our efforts are in a positive direction. We are looking ahead to the 2024 elections, and we are preparing for that.
Okay.
And interestingly, in this so-called liquor scam, what has come out 3 days before is one of the approver, P. Sharad Reddy. On 9th of November 2022, he was called for interrogation by the Enforcement Directorate. On 10th of November 2022, he categorically denied the involvement of Mr. Kejriwal or any of the AAP leaders. He was arrested then and there by the Enforcement Directorate. 5 days after that, on 15th of November 2022, he donated 5 crore rupees electoral bonds to the Bharatiya Janata Party. He applied for bail on 20th of January 2022, which was denied. He informed the Honorable Court that Enforcement Directorate is harassing him, threatening him to sign pre-dictated statements. But he refused to sign the statements which said that 100 crore rupees has been given as a bribe. After 4 months, in April 2023, he applied for bail, and the Enforcement Directorate, the same Enforcement Directorate who said that he's one of the kingpins of the so-called liquor scam, they did not even oppose the bail applications before the Delhi High Court.
Okay, let's go over.
Interestingly, on 2nd June 2023, he turned into a government approver. And thereafter, on November 8, 2023, he donated another 55 crores to the Bharatiya Janata Party.
Okay.
Now, it is for the BJP to answer, why did they take 60 crore rupees from the alleged kingpin of the liquor scam?
Okay, Mr. Panwar, 1 second. The question you've raised is an important one, and we'll take that. Mr. Sinha, we'll come to you with that question. I'll just come to you in a second, though. Mr. Panwar, I want to come to you before we go over to Mr. Sinha. I do want to ask you, sir, When the opposition, the INDIA, is saying democracy is dead, or democracy at least is dying, and it will die with this elections if the INDIA is not voted into power. So the argument that we're seeing the BJP make again and again goes back to the summons. The fact that Arvind Kejriwal skipped 9 summons, was that not the Aam Aadmi Party denying democracy's pathway right there?
So yeah, there are two aspects to this argument. The first is that there are leaders whom Prime Minister Modi used to label as corrupt. There's a long list starting from Ajit Pawar irrigation scam, Himanta Biswa Sarma, Suvendu Adhikari, Chhagan Bhujbal, Ashok Chavan, and recently, day before yesterday, Mr. Jindal has joined, whom they used to say that Hazaro Crore ka koila scam kar diya. And the other part is that all the opposition leaders are being targeted and the central law enforcement agencies are blatantly misused just to ensure a seamless victory for Bharatiya Janata Party.
Okay, all right.
Why did they not take action against the ones whom they used to label as corrupt?
Sir, just give me a second now. I want to go back to Mr. Sinha. Mr. Sinha, there are 2 separate points we're going to come to you to address. The first, the link that Mr. Panwar made of fishy links taking place in this case itself. I want you to address that point. But Mr. Sinha, also this debate would not be complete without us returning to that familiar conversation of ED arrests that have taken place against the opposition leaders. 2 data points I'll give our audiences, then I'll come to you to get an answer on them. These are perhaps numbers you've already heard before. Since 2014, a 4-fold jump in ED cases against politicians. 95% of those leaders are from the opposition. When we take this to the BJP, what we hear again and again is, what can we do if all of the opposition is corrupt? But that becomes very hard to believe, sir, when we see case after case. Mr. Sinha, would you like to address both those points?
Well, I'll answer both the questions. First, Arvind Kejriwal had been issued 9 summons. If the Aam Aadmi Party feels that he had information about the so-called Southern group being hand in glove with BJP, he had every opportunity to meet the ED and provide detail. He did not cooperate, which obviously means that he has more to hide. Now, when it comes to the Southern group, is the Aam Aadmi Party trying to say that, this Aurobindo Pharma or Mr. Reddy were blackmailed into buying electoral bonds? Is that what they're trying to say? You can check them, then
Mr. Sinha, no, I'm going to go ahead and assume that that's what they're saying.
So that's what they're saying, right? So if you look at the history of the electoral purchases, on 1st June 2023, Mr. Reddy had turned approver. And the maximum single purchase of electoral bonds happens 6 months post that. So I'm assuming that the day you turn approver, even the theoretical realm or the theoretical possibility of a quid pro quo ceases to exist. Why would he continue? Why would he make the maximum or the biggest amount purchase 6 months after that? There are a lot of
But Mr. Sinha, can I just ask you, couldn't the argument the Aam Aadmi Party makes here, and we've not actually given Anmol a chance to reply here, but couldn't the argument they make here be that what pressure is taking place behind the scenes 6 months later, 6 months before, we can't speak to?
No, see, when it comes to electoral bonds, most of these people have made donations to every party. When it comes to future gaming, they were alleging that future gaming is hand in glove with the BJP. But when the facts have actually come out, merely 4% of the electoral bonds purchased by future gaming have been in favor of BJP. The bulk of it has gone to TMC and DMK. So I think, the electoral bonds is a completely different realm altogether. And I think I can have justifiable arguments, like I mentioned, against it.
All right. So, Mr. Sinha, I'm not sure that boundary is so clean, but let's go over right now to Mr. Srivastava. He's a lawyer and he's joining us. I just want to tell our audiences, there are a few different questions we're looking at tonight. One of the deeper dives we're doing with all of our panelists is the validity of the case itself. But the other larger question, and Ms. Singh, this is something I'll come to you about in a second, is that bigger question. If democracy is indeed dead, because that's what the INDIA alliance is saying, I just want to understand more about that in a second from you. But first, let's go over to Mr. Srivastava. He's a lawyer. Sir, I want to ask you, the PMLA is the big law that we've been talking about again and again in this entire case. And the BJP, the one argument we've heard from them again and again over the last few days is that if any of these leaders were innocent, and we're not just obviously talking about Arvind Kejriwal, though this discussion has become far more serious with his involvement, we're also talking about previous leaders like Manish Sisodia, Sanjay Singh, the entire senior leadership, in fact, of the Aam Aadmi Party. I just want to ask you, sir, The criticism of the PMLA, and if I really break this down for our audiences, it's that the twin conditions that are required to fulfill the PMLA, bail conditions in the PMLA, are very, very tough.
Yes.
And just to simplify
Yes.
this for our audiences, and sir, this may be too much of a simplification, but come in and correct me if you want to disagree. What we do say is that in most of the legal system where you have to prove your guilt is proved, you are presumed innocent. Here it's the opposite.
Yes.
You're presumed guilty. Sir, I just want to ask
Yes.
you then, does the criticism that the BJP is making again and again, where it's saying that if they were innocent, they would have been given bail, does that stand, or is the PMLA indeed such a tricky law to get bail from?
First of all, Section 45 of the PMLA that gives the conditions which are required for getting a bail. Now, the first condition is obviously that the public prosecutor has to be given opportunity to oppose the bail. And the second one is that it has to be proved that the person who has been accused of money laundering has not committed that crime. And secondly, that there are hardly any chance that he would commit such kind of a crime in future. If these conditions are fulfilled, then only anticipatory bail can be applied and can be given. Now, the political parties, may blame each other, but the issue is that if they had such kind of apprehension, this issue could have been raised in the parliament in the past also.
But
when
sir, this
there
is,
was
just tell our audiences though, PMLA is
Now-
something that's gone up to the Supreme Court. There's been plenty of debate
yes.
about it, hasn't there?
Yes. So Supreme Court, when it went and it was challenged about the powers given to the Enforcement Directorate under the provisions of the PMLA, the Supreme Court confirmed that based on the law, what has been framed in the parliament, this Enforcement Directorate have all these powers given by the statute. And there has not been any amendment in the parliament in the past also. Nobody was bothered to make any amendment. That means all the political parties were very much satisfied and they were not complaining about those conditions. This
Okay.
law has been made not now, it was made in the past.
Right.
Now, apart from that, when we talk about the remand, now when anybody is produced before the special court after they are arrested, now it is up to the court to see if there is any further requirement of remand of that person and whether custodial interrogation is required. Now, if we see in this case, the court itself has given 6 days, custodial interrogation. So it is as per the court also. It is not that only a particular law agency is, using the powers just like that. So there is court. The court has to supervise. The court has to see whether, there has to be any extension of remand or not. So now, as we see that in this case, Mr. Kejriwal had already tried to have early hearing on Thursday before the High Court, which was refused. Then before that, they had tried to have the interim relief by the High Court. But looking at the submissions by the prosecutor or maybe considering the evidences on record, the High Court was not convinced at that time. So now as we see that when the matter came up on Friday before Supreme Court, it also was withdrawn from the Supreme Court. So now based on this, now because of the Holi going on and there are holidays, so I think
Sure.
on
It'll
28th
hopefully be looked at. Right.
Yes.
Okay, let's just
Yes,
go over
yes.
very quickly to Mahima Singh from the Congress. Ms. Singh, I'm actually going to take 2 points to you. The first question I have for you, we were talking right now about the PMLA, and one of the arguments that legal experts have made is that the foundation of the PMLA, the legal foundations, were not laid or challenged by the Congress government, the UPA government, when it was in power. Could I just have your input there, and then we'll take further questions to you?
Toya, I think, today to ponder over what the Congress government did when it was there in power, I think we must rather, our attention must rather be drawn to Mr. Jairam Ramesh's comment when he says that the BJP wanted actually a Congress Mukt Bharat, but what they've ended up doing is a corrupt Mukt Congress and a corrupt Mukt Bharat, because the questioning of the ED today, in whatever forms the laws have existed, now the BJP has been in power for 10 years. So I think it is very unfair and irrelevant to question the Congress for what it did when it was in power.
No, ma'am. I'm asking you one second. I'm asking you because leaders. One second. I'm asking you because leaders in the opposition have criticized the PMLA too. That's why I take that question to you, ma'am. Let me instead ask you then. It is the Congress party that has in the past.
Just a moment.
Go ahead.
just a moment. When the Congress was in power, you remember that it was a coalition government. It was UP. Unlike the BJP that today boasts that it is a double-engine sarkar. So there were a lot of limitations and hurdles that we had in legislation rather than how the BJP is functioning today. So if the BJP's intentions were so clean and fair, they would have rather done the needful. Instead, they have made it further draconian by the amendments that the BJP has brought to the PMLA recently. And I think even the legal experts comment on that. It is quite evident. And the ED's functioning, let me just finish this point. ED's functioning has become so questionable, Toya, with the amount of 95% of the cases against the opposition leaders and the infinitesimally low conviction rate. What happened to Mr. Chidambaram's and Mr. DK Shivkumar's cases, Toya? You would remember, and your audiences would remember. They were both acquitted. So that is the fate of the cases. So today, what we know is that the truly corrupt are being engulfed by the BJP, and those who are being falsely framed are being tried by the ED.
Ms. Singh,
and that's become the norm.
Ms. Singh,
the question is, why should the BJP, if just a moment more, Toya, I've been patiently hearing, if the basis of these trials, if the basis of these investigations is allegations, then come on, I mean, electoral bonds allegation, what could be bigger than that? The Supreme Court has scrapped the law saying it is unconstitutional.
Ma'am, till now the question to the Aam Aadmi Party was asking is, where is the trail of the proceeds, right? That was the big question. But 2 days ago, the Enforcement Directorate even arguing that they have produced that. I just want to ask you, ma'am, and I want to ask the Aam Aadmi Party, we do have just 2 minutes left, so I need both of you to be succinct. But I do need to ask you this. Multiple experts in the last few days saying that this might be the golden moment that the INDI opposition wanted. If they can seize on this, they have ammunition. They have what they need in the future. Ma'am, do you feel as if the party has seized this moment?
Just say your question again.
Do you think the party has, do you think the Congress, ma'am, the INDI, the Aam Aadmi Party, the TMC, each of these parties have seized on this moment? Because that's what experts are arguing, that with the arrest, you finally have ammunition to go ahead.
I would not say whether ammunition or not, but I'm very sure to say that the BJP has surely put its foot in mouth, and it is certainly going to play out against the BJP because they're fiddling with the very constitutional values that lie at the basis of democracy, because their MPs go out and say that if we get majority, we are going to change the constitution. So that is the malified intention that the BJP is functioning with, and we are out and about to fight those forces collectively because we believe in the Constitution of India.
Let's just go to Anmol then. Anmol, last word from you here. Let's just say, if this was such a big problem, wouldn't the BJP not have been voted back into power? This is a problem that, according to the opposition, has existed since 2014, right?
First, I would like to reply to the
so we just have a minute, so you have to be succinct.
As far as the summons is concerned, even after 2 years of investigation, more than 500 raids, and we have 50,000 paid charge sheet, not a single penny has been recovered. Those summons have been challenged before the Honorable Delhi High Court. Delhi High Court has issued a notice and asked the ED to reply within 2 weeks. So the matter is sub judice. And as far as PMLA is concerned, actually this amendment in the PMLA, which was brought in 2018 through a money bill route by the Bharatiya Janata Party, because they knew they don't have a majority in Rajya Sabha,
is an assault on the constitutional
protection of legislative powers.
Not taking away your time, but we are
This is under challenge. This is under challenge. A judgment, Vijay Mandal Chaudhary versus Union of India. It is under review before the Honorable Supreme Court of India, and a bench is to be constituted. The matter was heard for 25 days, but the Union of India Council did not remain present during the hearings, and thereafter a bench needs to be reconstituted. We have challenged this.
Okay, Mr. Panwar, I wanted to ask you about the future of the INDI, whether or not this is the golden moment that the opposition perhaps needed. We've run out of time now. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us here on the panel this evening. Okay, we're going to move on from this story to a different story entirely. Yesterday, the BJP released their 5th list, and a day after the BJP on that 5th list revealed that it was feeling the actor Kangana Ranaut from Himachal Pradesh's Mandi, Congress leader Supriya Shrine's Instagram handle shared a picture of the actress with a derogatory caption. Now, the post was deleted. Shrinet has issued a clarification in which she said that the post was made by someone who had access to her account. That's the exact phrasing. She added that she has discovered a parody account that is misusing her name. Now, the actor, Kangana Ranaut, has hit back at the Congress. She said that every woman deserves dignity and that we must free women from the shackles of prejudices. This is what she's had to say in response. The BJP is rallying behind their new leader, Kangana Ranaut. They've labelled Congress anti-woman. We'll play out the back and forth that's taking place. These are some of the reactions. Take a look.
मेरे फेसबुक और इंस्टाग्राम अकाउंट का एक्सेस कई लोगों के पास है। उसमें से किसी एक व्यक्ति ने आज एक बेहद घृणित और आपत्तिजनक पोस्ट की। मुझे जैसे ही पता चला, मैंने सर्वप्रथम उस पोस्ट को डिलीट किया, क्योंकि जो कोई भी मुझे जानता है वो अच्छी तरह से जानता है कि मैं कभी भी किसी भी महिला के खिलाफ व्यक्तिगत भद्दी और भोंदी टिप्पणी कर ही नहीं सकती हूं। मैं इसकी घोर विरोधी हूं। फिर मैंने जानना चाहा कि आखिर ये कैसे हुआ। तब पता चला कि ट्विटर पर मेरा नाम का दुरुपयोग करके एक पैरोडी अकाउंट चलाया जा रहा है, सुप्रिया पैरोडी के नाम से। वहीं पर ये ऑब्जेक्शनेबल पोस्ट हुआ और वहीं से किसी ने कॉपी पेस्ट करके मेरे फेसबुक और इंस्टा पे डाला। मैं ये पूरी तरह से जानने में जुटी हूं कि जिन लोगों के पास एक्सेस था उनमें से किसने ये घृणित काम किया। न मैंने ऐसा कभी किया है और न मैं कर सकती हूं। विचारधारा की लड़ाई पुरजोर तरीके से, पूरी ईमानदारी से और पूरी मजबूती से लड़ने में।
Congress party is the most anti-woman party that there can ever be. They have, from Tandoor Kand to the kind of abuse that they give to women, to the kind of insult they heap even on Shakti, Ma Durga, Ma Parvati, and now the disgusting post made by Supriya Shrinet against Kangana Ranaut, who is the candidate of the Bharatiya Janata Party from Mandi. It is the most disgusting and despicable comment, and we demand immediately that Priyanka Vadra, Khadge ji, Rahul ji should clarify their stand.
देखिए, किसी भी महिला के बारे में इस तरीके का कमेंट करना बहुत दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण, काबिल एतराज़ है। अगर उन्होंने ये कहा है कि ये किसी ने एक्सेस कर लिया है और ये कमेंट डाला है, तो मैं चाहूँगा कि सरकार को चाहिए कि इसका इन्वेस्टिगेशन करे। किन लोगों ने किया है, किसने ये कमेंट किया है, जिसने भी ये कमेंट किया है उसके खिलाफ कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए।
Those were two election-based stories. We're just a few days away from the big set of dates, Lok Sabha elections taking place across the country. For now, thank you so much for taking out time for joining us this holy evening. We'll see you tomorrow right here on the channel.
Presented by
Across India, with streets being struck with vibrant colours and celebrations. Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended his greetings for the festival to all his fellow countrymen. Prime Minister Modi also conveyed his wishes to the people of the nation, addressing them as his Parivarjan in a social media post. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh also visited the Siachen and celebrated Holi with soldiers who remain on vigil even in the world's most difficult terrain. Let's listen in to some of the reactions that's come in so far.
I'm extremely happy that I'm attending today's program here in the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Mathura, and that they did a very wonderful havan for all the karyakartas. Everybody participated. It's a very, very important occasion for our Bharatiya Janata Party. देखिए, ब्रज की प्रसिद्ध